is Neil deGrasse Tyson. I am a famous astrophysicist. First, I need to take you back to when I was born. The year was, I was born the year NASA was founded, October 5th, 1958. I am the middle of two siblings. I grew up around the Bronx. My mom was a gerontologist, and my father was an agroecologist. When I was 9, I was fascinated by space when I took my first visit to Hayden Planetarium. When I grew up, I went to Bronx High School from 1972 to 1976. At that time, I had an emphasis on astrophysics. Apart from being the captain of the wrestling team, I was also the editor-in-chief of Physical Science, which was the school paper. When I was 15, I finally made my mark on the world in the community of astronomy when I gave lectures. After that, scientists like Dr. Carl Sagan of Cornell University wanted to invite me for undergraduate programs. In 1980, I attended Harvard University when I received a bachelor's degree in the art of physics. I was in other activities like rowing, wrestling, and dancing. I proceeded in my postgraduate endeavors at the University of Texas, Austin in 1938. I earned my master's degree in astronomy. 2 years later, I even bagged a gold medal for the dance team of Texas University. I furthered my education by earning a Master of Philosophy. Because of my fascination for astronomy, my research focuses on stellar evolution, cosmology, galactic astronomy, as well as stellar and formation. This is why I am a famous astrophysicist. Most kids want to be an astronaut. I became a scientist in space.
My name is Alexander Graham Bell. I was born on March 3rd, 1847 in Edinburgh, Scotland. I was the second son of Alexander Melville Bell and Eliza Grace Simons Bell. I had two brothers, Melville James Bell and Edward Charles Bell, both of whom died from tuberculosis. I studied under my grandfather, Alexander Bell, a noted speech teacher. I taught elocution, assisted my father, also a speech teacher, and taught at a school for the deaf in England. In 1870, I immigrated with my parents to Canada. There, I set up a workshop to continue my study of the human voice. In 1871, I moved to Boston and began work on a device that will allow for the telegraph transmission of several messages sent to different frequencies. The funds came from the fathers of two of my students. One of these men, Gardner Herbert, had a deep daughter, Mabel, who later became my wife. In March 1876, I was granted the first official patent for the telephone. I would later face years of legal challenges to my claim that I was its sole inventor. I continued my scientific work for the rest of my life.
I was born on April 3rd, 1934 in Bournemouth, England. I grew up in a middle-class British family with two older sisters. My mother was Vienna Joseph Morris Goodall. and she was a successful novelist. My father was Herbert Morris Goodall. He was an engineer. When I was little, I used to go outside instead of going to school, and I love learning about new animals. I went to a private college in school. When I turned 18, I worked as a secretary at Oxford University. And after that, I came back to England to work on an animal documentary. I married Derek Bryson and had one child named Hugo Eric Lewis Van Lawick. Where I lived was under, and then yeah, that's it.
My name is James Watson. I discovered DNA. I was born April 6, 1928. Place born Chicago, Illinois. My parents, mother Jean Mitchell, father James D. Watson. Brother or sisters, I have two. I have Elizabeth Watson and Jean Watson. I went to school in Indiana during 1947 and 1950, and then University of Chicago, 1943 to 1947. I'm 67, I think. Yeah, and I won 2 Nobel Prizes, and yeah, that's about it.
Hello, my name is George Washington Carver. I was known for inventing peanut-based objects like peanut-based oil and peanut-based tires. And I was also known to mix plant breeds. I was introduced the opportunity to work for the military for thousands of dollars. I was born into slavery, and I was born in 1925 and died in 1987. I died falling down the stairs, unfortunately.
I'm sure you are wondering who the inventor of, who a person who helped revolutionize society today is. Well, I'm here to show you Nikola Tesla. He created he had a pet cat when he was younger. I'm pretty sure he was 4, and it was probably rubbing itself on the rug or something, creating static electricity, which is when 2 fuzzy things rub together. And when it created the static electricity, when young Tesla petted the cat, it traveled into his own body, and he was immediately fascinated and wanted to study electricity. And so on he did for pretty much the rest of his life. That's kind of insane. When he was 4, he just decided his entire life. That's insane. So he ended up growing up, and he didn't do much. But one of the things that is known is that he was working under Benjamin Franklin at one point, but Benjamin Franklin knew that he had a lot of potential in helping revolutionize electricity. But Benjamin Franklin did not want him to be forgotten, and decided to kick Tesla out. And for the longest time, he was on his own until he eventually got a job offer, I'm pretty sure, and it allowed him to create a motor. Because the original motors kind of did this. And they kept on, in every once in a while, electricity companies would have to replace the part that's banging. Say it was a fist, they would have to replace the fist every once in a while. And when it was too dull, then when the fist was replaced, it would keep on going. But it kept on dueling down too fast, and there wasn't enough electricity to do much. Maybe having your washer, TV, and microwave on would cause a blackout for everyone because it was taking too much electricity and it was cooling down too fast. But Tesla's invention created it more like a circle, and it would keep on going and going and going, and instead of needing multiple power plants to power very small areas with few voltage, they need one power plant to cover a massive area and everyone would get a high amount of voltage, unlike the old method with tons of power plants in low voltage. It revolutionized technology, and most people think that Nikola Tesla also was developing some sort of death ray of some sort, but this was not true. The idea originally came up with a Nikola Tesla-like character in a Adventure Superman episode, probably on the radio or a very early version of the television. And a Tesla-like character had this death ray, and he tried to use it to take over the world. Superman, of course, stopped him, but that was that. And he only made an appearance in 3 episodes. Well, his character did, anyway, because it was so close, because it reminded so many people of Nikola Tesla, years later, people are starting to think that he actually was developing a real-life death ray, when this was highly unlikely not the case. It was more of a misconception. People accidentally heard the story wrong over years. Kind of like how one story, kind of like it was passed down over years, but instead of decades changing the story, it was more of a now change. And Tesla had many more inventions in his head, but because he did one thing that no inventor or scientist should ever do that sacrificed many inventions. He forgot to write down what the blueprints were or what the invention was going to do. He didn't do that. And it kind of reminds me of myself, because I know that if I had some sort of amazing revolutionizing invention in my head, I would definitely forget it in a heartbeat. And because he forgot to do it, so when he died in, I forgot the year, when he died, many inventions were lost that could have made it so instead of maybe light bulbs dying so fast, maybe light bulbs could go on for years without needing changed. But we could never know because, well, he never wrote down any of his thinkings or notes. And, well, he did write down notes for his already made inventions, but if it hadn't been made yet, there was no notes for it or anything that confirmed its existence. But the only way that we know that Nikola Tesla had more inventions was because he would often say to people that he knew closely that he had this cool invention in mind that would revolutionize human society. Who knows, maybe if he had made one of those, instead of working on the newest iPhone, we'd be working on some sort of hologram computer, kind of like in famous movies. And this is Nikola Tesla.